Hi, this is Dr. Bob, and I'd like to give you a brief overview of the Skillbott Teacher portal. So logging in as a teacher gives me many more options than logging in as a student. We have grade books. We have the ability to set calendars up on the top. We can pick which courses we're going to teach, or we can create a new course, or we can communicate. When we communicate, we can communicate with by sending mail, by sending announcements, or we can set up a conference so that I can schedule a webinar very similar to what we're doing here. On the very far left is my dashboard. My dashboard gives me a clue as a teacher as to all of the things that I need to address. So as I'm looking through, I can see that at this particular point, I am looking at all of my courses, and I'm looking at all of my students. So I'm going to refine this slightly just by typing in Kathy, because she's one of the students. And now I have a list of just pieces and exercises and activities that Kathy's working on. And if I select one, just by clicking it, it will bring that assignment up, and I can see her response. Unfortunately, many bosses act this way. They're hard to please and compromise with. Now, if I happen to be grading a whole group of Leadership Style 1, I'll remember what the question was. But in this case, I don't. So I'm going to come up to my item in the very top, and I'm going to click it. And when I click it, it's going to take me to the Style Number 1 dictatorial boss, and it will tell me what questions we have. So it's wants answers to the following questions. Can you work effectively with this type of leadership style? Have you encountered? How would you handle? Do you consider? How do you think this boss? And as I go back, I can find that Kathy didn't really answer all of my questions. So one of my options would be to give her a poor score, like 20 out of 100. Or I could give her no credit. Or I could continue this later and just write her an email. Or I can excuse her from the assignment, or I can allow a retry. Now, the way most teachers work with this is they will go ahead and they will edit notes. And in the notes section, I can type whatever it is that I wanted to type to Kathy, and since I'm not a typist, I'm not even going to pretend. Or most teachers set up a set of templates because it's just a whole lot easier. And in this case, I know I've already got try this one again. Or I've got one, let's put a little more effort into this. This case, she's only answered 1 out of 4 questions and didn't do much of a job with that, so I'm going to just pick try this one again. And it will fill us in. I know you can do much better than this. You can always email me if you have questions. And if I picked that wasn't the right one, I could say let's put a little more effort into this one. You've answered the question, but I'd like to see more than a 1-word or 2-word response. Point is, you can customize and create templates that make it extremely easy for you to respond to students, and it just makes it very, very nice from the teacher's perspective, so they're not spending a great deal of time typing individual letters to each of the students. And in this case, I'm going to allow a retry. That means it puts it back into Kathy's things to do, and it'll leave it on my assignment list because the next time I go to see a think and respond, it'll show me that this is the second response because it'll be in a different color. I'm going to go back to the home page. And I'd like to address the top part of the screen because it kind of gives me an overall view. So under the summary, it's telling me that this teacher, I'm just logged in as a domain admin, so I don't really teach any of the classes, but it's telling me that I have 753 assignments. Most of these are sample students that we're just collecting feedback from to make sure that we have all the errors out of the program, and we're doing a great job of it. And that's one of the great things about Skillbott is if your students discover something that is an error or incorrect or a misspelling, we can have that corrected by the next day. So it isn't like a textbook where a typo is a typo. You're always going to have typos in materials, but we are reactive to it. The responsiveness is going to tell me about the teacher, that I've got lots to do. The performance is going to tell me about the students. So it's telling me that some students are in danger of failing the course, and if I look on my critical list on the right, it's telling me who they are. And if I click on Nicole's name, it's going to tell me that at least 2 of the 5 scores are missing, and it's going to show me all the things that she's done poorly with. The little score brackets tells me that I need to grade those, so I can't really give her a very good comparison without coming up with this. If I move up into the grade book itself, and that's the top middle, it's going to show me how some of my students are doing, and it's saying that Kathy out here is at 98%, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here's where I can add students and drop students, and I can also go to grade them from here just by clicking on them. If I look at the syllabus, this is going to give me the syllabus of all of my classes, and it's going to show me the National Core Standards and what it's aligned to, and it's going to show me all of the modules that are out. So it's going to say if I want to run this PDF because I have a brick and mortar school and I'd like to pass these out in a paper form, I could do that. Or if I would like to email them, I could do that and take it literally out of the lesson. If I'd like to add pieces into it of my own, I can also do that. So I can add and I can edit anything that's here. That's very powerful for teachers. It also sets up grading categories. It's going to start out as equal weight. Teachers can change that in any way they like. I'm going to switch over to the categories only view, and it shows me that right now homework's at 40, quizzes are at 100, discussions at 100, and so is projects. If I decide that projects are much more important to my class, I can change it to whatever number I'd like, and it'll weight every score accordingly and appropriately so that the teacher doesn't have to sit there with a calculator trying to recalculate scores because they changed the weighting of their assignments. Here's also where I set up my schedule so I know when students have things that are due. In my objectives section, it's showing me of the National Core Standards or of the scans or of the Equip for the Future, because they're all listed, what percentage of that core standard is been accomplished or mastered by my classroom. And this is very helpful for schools that work with national standards and align their lesson plans to them. The final grades is exactly that, and I've already showed you the communicate sign. This is a very quick and cursory overview of the teacher portal, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.